Okay. So where did that stem from? Where did that stem from? Sorry, I just
Tars. I like Tars. Tars, good robot. Tars. Okay, honestly, I'm pretty sure Tars is my favorite character.
Humor level 60%.
that they did.
If only we could do that to Thomas.
You said it on me. You said it on me. He said it
Thomas, humor level 50%.
Can you tone it down a little bit?
Put on the light so you know if I'm being sarcastic. Oh.
No, I loved like the design of the robots. Because at first they kind of look kind of weird, but it's like they realize just like how practical they are. They're just like a block robot with a bunch of like
be realistic still.
Yeah. Instead of trying to be all like iRobot and like, or some realistic like weird, it's just like I just loved how it was just,
a human-like looking thing.
It was different. That was just like a block, and you're like, what the heck? Like,
it's simple yet practical.
Like, can you just imagine the engineering behind it?
Oh yeah, I mean that's
not only the software engineering, there's like the mechanical works of it. Yeah.
Oh, cool. So with that real quick, so I did a little research, did some digging, and what people have dated it around is the year 2060 to 2070 or something is what they predict that Interstellar takes place in the future.
Interesting.
And they did that off. There was some more confusing thing, which I'm not really sure. I'm gonna probably butcher, but it was something about the way Saturn's shot and the way it reveals on its rings is only seen every like 50 years or something.
And that's funny.
And so they were like, oh, it needs to be to this, that. And they also used the
actual visual representation of that.
Yeah. And they said that the grandfather too, it sounds like he was placed probably as a millennial.
Yeah. Well,
they use that as like a general like kind of timeline.
They use the baseball game and saying like
the Yankees.
Yeah, that it's
so it's whatever.
But I just thought that was interesting that people were like, you have to look into it more exactly, but they were like something about Saturn. I was like, what the deep? Like,
yeah. Bouncing off of the Yankees idea. Oh my, how the shift in focus of actual survival comes back, like Haslow's hierarchy of needs, how that comes back into play, because like we don't need that excess things in America anymore, right?
Entertainment,
we don't need those like, entertainment. It's gone.
Sports,
we don't it's there, but we don't need it.
It's
so
like you
farm. It's just cool how we go back to survival, basic everything with like what do we need to eat, where do we need to sleep, what do we need to drink, how can we survive, what's mine, what's theirs.
No, it's true, because it's like back in the day, like everyone's profession, so to speak, was, I mean, they were just like, you just worked to eat and live, you know what I mean? Like you had a farm, you had land, you made, but it's like, oh, once that became easier and it's like, oh, everyone has a place to live, so now it's like people do other things. It's interesting to see like the progression of society. Now it's like people make millions off just straight entertainment. People are comedians, for goodness sakes. They tell jokes for a living. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
We're doing a podcast right now.
How about that airline food, huh?
Yeah, you're right. That's an interesting concept.
Going back to the physiological needs of it.
That's my humor light. How about that airline food, huh?
That's for the audience to laugh. Insert last year.
Laugh track.
Fix it in post.
Okay, what were some of your guys' favorite scenes? I definitely know mine, but I'm curious to get your
favorite scenes.
Yeah, or either like good shots, good scenes. Okay, maybe while you're thinking, I'll answer.
Okay. I have something I really like.
Okay.
I don't know the names of the planets. Sorry. I like the Man's Planet. Do they call it Man's Planet?
The snow.
I like Man's Planet. Yeah, the way that looks is so cool. Like, it's unreal.
You like the design of it?
Filmed in Iceland.
I'm also from Utah, so I love the snow, and just how things look in the mountainous area region.
According to scientists, that's the least least scientifically accurate part of the movie, is that the frozen clouds
is the
there.
Clouds. Yeah,
I
read the same thing.
The one shot. Holmes, as he was watching that, asked me about that.
Well, I would never noticed that before, and I was like, oh, because they made mention of it, but I just didn't hear that dialogue or whatever.
I think that in my head, and I just think that the clouds would be too heavy; they would just fall.
Gotcha.
They would crush. But I think that's the main flaw in that. But it does look beautiful.
No, really, it makes for stunning visuals.
And like, as I don't know if I can go into favorite scene. I just like the way that looks.
A planet? Really? I'm just kidding. Tommy, what would you say? Something?
I don't know if I don't know if I would call it a scene, but my favorite
I like all the scenes.
my favorite thing
Well, that's fair.
aspect. I don't really know what to say for this. I really, really, really love how Murph progresses through time. I thought they did a really good job with all 3 actors that they used. Young Murph, I think, is one of the few like good children actors.
I agree.
Gotcha.
And I thought they did very well with casting and also the way like they cut and edited the movie. I love to, especially like when Cooper is in like the black hole, and I love how it shows the same event like throughout the progression of Murph's life, which I think is really cool. And so I loved how they portrayed her. I loved how they edited it, and I loved like the casting and that. I don't know. I just love everything that has to do with Murph's progression.
I would love to see the storyboard of this movie.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm pretty sure it won an award for best. I don't know if it was like editing or sound editing.
Let's look it up.
There was a picture. It wasn't best picture though. It was like, I'm gonna butcher that. I don't know movie aspect well enough, but it was something to do with, it was something to do with the editing and something that like it won an award for. And I was like, that's fair. That's fair to me. Did you guys find it yet or no?
Hold on, give me like 4 more seconds.
Well.
Guys, come on.
It won best visual effects.
That's what it is.
And it had nominations for best original score, best production design, best sound editing, and best sound mixing, which I think it should have won all 4 of those.
Yeah, it won a lot of awards.
Easily.
It also won, Thomas said best visual effects. It also won something called the Empire Award for best film, Critics' Choice Movie Award for best science fiction movie, Empire Award for best director, Christopher Nolan, Critics' Choice MVP Award, BAFTA Award as well for visual effects and special visual effects.
Gotcha.
Kind of crazy.
Okay.
A lot of accolades.
I want to share my 2 favorite scenes with you guys.
Yeah.
So I think this might be probably a common thing, but for sure, I'm a sucker for good music, and I'm a sucker for just the good, solid, intense moments that draw you in. And so
he's going to talk about the connecting.
That's the number one. But number 2 is the waterfall. Sorry, the wave, the mountain scene.
Wait, hold on. What was the first one?
No. So I'm giving you my first one right now.
Yeah.
So I just
Sorry,
think
I'll let you speak.
No, you're good.
So wait, what was your first one?
Wait, so what?
So I think, and then you'll be saved.
And then you'll be saved. Beat me to it. No, so I just think, I think the intensity on Miller's planet when they land and they just have so little time, and as the music just progresses, and it's like I just like how they play it off, because you really can't tell. Like you can know it's water, and then they say in the background they're like, "Oh, is those mountains?" And you're like, "They're going away from us, though." And he's like, "Those aren't mountains." And then he turns around. And then I don't know why the shot is so dope. But as the music goes up, though, they pan, and then they just keep panning. You think they're going to see the end of the wave, and it just keeps going. Like it's literally one of those things where it's like, it's going to end, and it's just like, and then you finally see it, and you're like, oh my gosh. And so I just think that it was a brilliantly well done, and that ties in more to the soundtrack of how that was used. And then the second one, which is probably one of my favorite, even Christopher Nolan scenes of all time throughout his movies, is the docking sequence.
Yeah.
It is so like, so a little background. I was actually
do not dock.
Back in like 2013 or whatever, before this movie came out, I just got deep into Nolan. I was watching the Dark Knight trilogy, Inception. I was with my brother. And so I saw a new Christopher Nolan movie coming out, and I was like, this is going to be sick. I was like, it's space, the music, I was getting hyped. So my dad, for like a little, father, son, a little outing, we went to go see it in IMAX. And like, it was like, it's still one of the experiences I remember, because it's like, I like the movie a lot, but that one scene was so intense. Like, I was just like, he's like, what are you doing? He's like, he's just sweating. He's like, no, it's not possible. He's like, no, it's necessary. And then he just goes to dock it, and then he has to spin it underneath and like he
at the same rate.
He tells Case, he's like, Case, if I black out, you take the stick. And then we see Anne Hathaway later black out. Like it's literally like, I just think that's
the amount of G-force in that sequence.
The way it sucks you in, and the way like the intensity, like it's like he either gets this or it's like there's no hope. They're just going to be adrift to space, and he's dead.
I cannot imagine watching that in IMAX.
So it was pretty neat. Like it just immerses you, and like I like Nolan's shots, because like he goes underneath, and then when they're both spinning the same time, they look straight, and he's kept it still on the thing, so these things look aligned. It's kind of hard to visualize, but that is for sure one of my favorite scenes And like I said, one of my favorite scenes of all time, probably especially for Christopher Nolan movies. It's dumb nice.
Side note, I just looked this up. How long did it take to make Interstellar? It took 4 years just to write the script.
4 years?
Just for the script. I don't know about everything else, but kind of crazy.
Deep in his
the development process took approximately 9 years.
I also saw something just talking about just like the technical aspect of it. I think it was like for every second of like animation, not CGI, but like for every second of footage, it required like I think like 100 hours of rendering into the final product. Just because of how like much computational power they need to like render like the black hole and stuff like that, and like the wormhole.
Yeah. It was like
serious? For every second it was like 100 hours or something.
I haven't even thought about that. The 3D rendering, how long that takes for just like one single still moment is so long, you know?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That makes me appreciate the movie a lot more. Wow.
That's fascinating.
Also, you know what makes me appreciate the movie too is I really
especially that long ago. Sorry.
Yeah, 2014.
Still.
That's weird. It feels so recent, but now I say that it actually is kind of a long time ago. That's weird. Time dilation. Anyway. So I think that's another thing I appreciate about Christopher Nolan is so some people think he's a little bit of like a cinema snob because he'll only record it on like certain like he won't use digital recordings. He'll use like the old millimeter and like IMAX footage, which is like physical strips of film, right? And he'll only show his movies like in theaters. Like he won't do like home release or anything like that, especially during like the pandemic with Tenet. He refused to do that. But I also think it's impressive because he uses as little CGI as possible, which I really love. They planted 700 acres of corn for this movie.
I saw that. I was like, what?
And they sold it for a profit. They made a freaking profit off of it.
They made money off the corn.
That is Ryan right there. Just a little financial advisor. Like, hey, like we cash this baby in, we'll make some money back.
But I just love, like, I feel like that's so much dedication right there to plant 700 acres of corn for this. And I love that he tries to do as many physical sets as possible because I feel like it can really, I don't know, I feel like it makes the acting more raw and more realistic.
Especially with the space film, you could easily just go heavy CGI and never, because even like the last scene, like in the Tesseract, when he's like floating, like they made a little like makeshift, I mean, obviously they added some effects afterwards, but like he was suspended, Matthew McConaughey, and they made kind of like a big square, you know, just to give him some like spatial to be like, oh, you're in this like floating thing. But it's like, I like how he does like, I should appreciate
how he even acts in that.
Yeah. And then
because I mean, like you look at like behind the scenes of like, I don't know, like a Marvel movie or something, it's like Thor standing there and everything's like a green screen behind him.
That's true. That is one of my gripes. I wrote that in my notes that it's like, I love Marvel, but sometimes it is like, it's a lot of green screen. It's a lot of CGI. It's a lot of, and it's like, oh, like I appreciate Nolan with that. Got some great set pieces.
Well, and even to just like the attention to detail, like I think you said like the light like rotating like with the ship and like the sun and whatnot, like everything he does is like realistic as possible, and I really appreciate that from a filmmaker.
Yeah, right. I was talking to Thomas when I was watching it, and it's like it's when he's talking to his kids, but it's like such a subtle thing. But you see the light like continue to rotate because they're still spinning, and I'm like, that's such a small detail. But
who would think about that? Yeah,
it's like you're keeping it accurate though. They're just in a space station, so of course it's gonna, the light's gonna rotate. Like,
there's just I don't know. Like there's just so much to go into with this movie. Like the acting is incredible. The CGI, the special effects were incredible. Everything about the storyline is incredible. The soundtrack is incredible. Hans Zimmer is incredible.
Should we talk about soundtrack? Is it that time?
Wait,
let's go into the soundtrack.
I'm ready. Okay, what do you want to say?
What Tom? What Tom?
No, Tommy, please. What? Wait, really? What are you? Wait, what are you gonna say?
I was gonna say is, I was thinking about it. Is there any character you think they could do without, or at least favorite character?
I might have a slightly different answer. I'll let Ryan go.
They could do without
a character they could do without.
Like if the character was not in there, it would not really change the film.
Maybe her brother, a little bit. Like,
no, they need the brother for the baby.
Do they though?
For the baby, it's for him missing home even more. Him becoming a grandfather while in space.
It's mainly him and Murph though, as I feel like is the main. That's the heart of the film. Like I just feel like I would like if there was more, like, because at the end, like, he comes to see Murph, and I know the guy's probably dead.
Are you saying Murph's brother?
Murph's brother, yeah. His other son.
You don't think the son was necessary? I think the son is necessary because of what we talked about before.
We never
as
see
well.
him at the end. Like, he just gets salty. Like, I don't know. It's like, I just feels a little like almost too big. Well, those are some of my gripes with the film, maybe.
Yeah, that's fair.
Gripes.
Maybe I should go into that real quick. So I've been praising this film, and I do love the film. Quick little things. I think it's too long. And I'm a sucker for long movies, and I love me some Loader, other things, but like Lord it just feels loaded. It does feel a little drawn out at times, and I think the first act is trying to set up a lot, but I feel like there's better ways to just kind of condense that.
Yeah. Do you think they could have done more with less time? Do you think they could have done the same with less time? Is better put.
I think so. For me personally, yes. I know lovers of the movie said Ryan Stegall will probably say it's perfect the way it is, and I think there's some nice things, but I think Nolan tries to throw so much in that it gets a little bit like. And like I love the movie, but I think the conclusion kind of falls because it's like it just kind of tries to wrap up quick and like you know what I mean. Like he never really sees the son. Murph like he sees her at the end, but it's like a quick like you think, and I get like she's old, but
how do we know though that the son's not in that final room? We don't. That's maybe something they could have gone into. Yeah,
but there's just little sense like that. I wish they would have just been like a little cleaner. I think they could have they chopped maybe a good 20.
That's a good point. For as long as it is, it kind of ends really fast.
It does end really fast, but. I think they were trying to consider time at that point, and they'd already made so much. They were like, maybe we couldn't have done as much with that.
Do you know why? Because he films on IMAX footage, and there's like a set limit of 2 hours and 37 minutes you can film, and he was already hitting that. So that's why I think it had to end so fast.
Yeah.
Once again, so if he wasn't a snob, they could have potentially done more.
Snobby Nolan over here. Hate the guy. What, Holmes? You were just praising him. I'm just kidding. I love Christopher
masterpieces.
That's my only gripe with the film, and like I said, it's still really good, and like it's way better than most other films easily. But I do think it feels like a lot of times, and I like some of those long space shots, but sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, like
I feel
like let's get to the wormhole, or like let's but that's my personal opinion.
I don't know. I think we need to have the slow moments to appreciate the faster ones, but there could be maybe one or two scenes they could have like totally just cut out and we wouldn't realize. And maybe there are more scenes that they cut out that we don't even know about.
That's true. Because I feel like at the beginning, like they could have made it simpler, like him getting on the mission or something. I just felt like kind of a lot. Like I think it's like 40 minutes or so. I was looking till they actually take off, and I'm like,
building story.
Let's cut that baby in half, slice up a little bit in the middle, make a little bit prettier ending. And I'm like,
I personally think it's a good balance between beginning, middle, and end.
So that's fair.
But I think they tried to make it pretty even. Yeah.
That's me coming from no film experience. I mean, Nolan's Nolan. So
Nolan, comment down below, please.
Comment down below.
I do love though. He definitely has like his style of filmmaking, and I think it's interesting to see. And like
for sure.
Each one of his films, like he strives to kind of like push that boundary of first off length, obviously, but also like push like morality and
mental capacity.
Mental capacity. What's right, what's wrong. Like you see like the quarrels between the characters in this movie, and then you also see it like in The Dark Knight. You see it in Inception. Like you see it in every one of his movies. You see like there's like that internal struggle of the main character.
Yeah, I would love to see what study he does in philosophy in general, and what types of points he tries to focus on in specific movies, because I'm sure he has notes and says, I'm going to focus on this specific philosophy at this point in this time, and say, hey, let's focus on this for this scene.
It was interesting. I was reading up an analysis of this movie, and I was seeing how most of Nolan's films, the main conflict of interest comes between two parties, right? Party A and Party B, who have different views on things. But whereas this one is more like an internal conflict of like, because everyone knows that something has to be done, and everyone agrees on like the rough idea of what has to be done. But the internal conflict is like that, like love, that like family, that internal battle of like, do I leave for the sake of humanity? Like that's the conflict.
I actually wrote down this question. Would you choose to live out your life with your family, or chase the dream, the hope, the faith of saving humanity? That's what I wrote down when I was watching the movie. Like, what do you think you would do? Would you choose the greater good? Because it comes to a nice resolve in the end that he sees his family. Whether that would really happen in a situation like this, probably not. Because
But
for so many reasons.
you also
for story's sake, it did.
He lost so many years with his family too, though. I mean, 100, like literally 100+ years, which is, you know, some of that sacrificed. But I don't know.
I think that's like the classic like trolley question. You know, like would you like rather like pull the lever that kills 3 random kids or pull the lever that kills like your wife? You know, so it's always like, is the need of the many greater than the need of the few? And I think if you're like just take a look at it from a strictly statistical standpoint, the answer is probably go help humanity. But if you're adding emotion to it, because we're emotional beings, that's where it gets tricky. Family. And I honestly don't know what I would do. I feel like it's one of those things where I don't know what I would do in that situation.
Yeah. Because it's like, I think you always side, naturally, I think we always would side with our family. But it's like, I think the bigger the existential crisis, like what is, you know what I mean? It's like, and if you know you could do it too, it's like, with this, I mean, it seems even more improbable. If there's like even a more simple like solution, you're like, no, you know you could do this and you know you could save thousands, like that. I think that's the scale of that starts to weigh on it more. It's like, because with the train, like with that lever, it seems like, oh, I'm going to save my wife. Yeah. I'm going to save my family. But it's like the bigger it is, I'm like, I don't know, you know, it's like
it's the fate of humanity.
It's like a whole,
because you could also make the argument like, oh, this is just like natural selection. This is just evolution, you know? And so like, there's so many different possible points to look at it.
It's like actual natural selection, like the entire human race versus the entire nature.
Thanos snapped, but it's everyone. Thomas, you just made a Marvel reference.
MCU reference?
Wow. Big day. It's a big day, guys.
We're diving in. Tommy loves Marvel? No, Holmes, I never said that. Okay, soundtrack.
Yeah.
It's great. It's all right. I've heard better. Are you kidding me, boys? This is probably Hans Zimmer's one of his best work. Oh my goodness. For me personally, this is one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. Easily. I don't know if it's there, maybe a certain song, but it's like, it's up there.
What's your top like 5 Hans Zimmer or like top 3 Hans Zimmer songs?
Soundtracks?
Like
soundtrack or just songs?
Movie themes, movie scores. Like what's your top?
We're gonna say Dark Knight, of course.
For the longest time, it was Time from Inception, but I think it got superseded by Interstellar's main theme. I think the more I listen to it, I like, as much as Time still. I mean, it's Time. It's never going to be bad. It's always up there. But like,
it's literally endless.
It's timeless.
But the main theme of Interstellar is so like mystifying. That's the best word I can like. It just drags you, and it's just like, even it's so simple, the theme, but it builds so much on it. I don't know. So I think I like it better than Inception slightly, but that's so hard to do. I mean, Lion King, like I said, we talked about this the other day. There's so many. He's got like
Pirates of the Caribbean,
surprisingly Kung Fu Panda. Uguay Ascents,
he loves that.
He just gets those like random movies and just goes so hard. He does not have permission to go that hard.
Way harder than he needs to.
Because like another random one. So many,
Call of Duty. Can we talk about that?
Seriously,
I forgot about that. Oh man.
But for like he did Prince of Egypt also.
Yeah, it's true.
Like he did work on that.
He literally did the SpongeBob movie.
Yeah, the new one.
He's got so many things that I just like.
It's crazy.
I even like El Dorado. Like he did some of that.
Wonder Woman. Yeah.
What?
It's
dope.
Dark Phoenix. What?
Sherlock Holmes.
The Last Samurai. Dunkirk.
Dunkirk. Gladiator.
Planet Earth 2.
We gotta slow down real quick. We just want to know.
Man of Steel. Oh my gosh. I'm just scrolling through Spotify right now.
Hans Zimmer is
Sherlock Holmes. Oh my gosh. That's so good.
He's done a lot.
Hans Zimmer is without a doubt the John Williams of our generation, and he
Da Vinci Code.
Questionably better than John Williams, I would say.
Hot take. That might be a hot take for those oldies out there.
I would just say that because I feel like John Williams is awesome, but I feel like John Williams has a little bit of this. I feel like John Williams has a similar theme for each of his movies, like a similar vibe. Like he likes those like trumpets and kind of stuff. Whereas Hans Zimmer, I feel like each movie he does is completely different and completely unique, and he has his own flavor.
I think he bases it more on the story of the movie, and I think he's better at creating an atmosphere.
Yeah,
for lack of a better term,
rather than like a theme. I think
a specific theme. I think he's good at capturing the emotion and like putting you in the movie. Whereas John Williams is really good at like creating a theme that'll stick and you'll remember forever.
An iconic theme versus a vibe, a feeling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So a little like kind of fun fact of that. So I've delved deep into this soundtrack and the underlyings of it and the history, but like, but I read up on it again today. But I was like, the story of how it was first like conceived is that Christopher Nolan came to him. Hans Zimmer was working on another project at the time, and he was like, "Hey, I want you to like, I'm looking for another movie or whatever." And so he gave him one page, one of the script to Hans Zimmer, and the only thing that was on it that was really the essence was that a relationship with his son was the only thing that was really captured in it. So he didn't know anything about genre, about anything else. And Christopher Nolan said it was important that they kind of do something different because he worked with him, through all the Dark Knight. And so he's like, I want to go away from, and I think Thomas
he didn't want drums.
He didn't want drums. Like he wanted like a very different sound. And so he came back and Hans had spent a couple of days and he wrote this theme and he was like, that's perfect. Because he wanted to capture the heart of the film with the relationship. And he told him later, he's like, oh, it's actually a father with his daughter. And it's this big space epic. And he was like, oh, but like he wanted to free him from that. Like the creative, it's just so cool. Like that creative process that he only gave him like, here, it's just about a relationship with father and son. I want you to write, just give me, give you a couple of days, give you main theme kind of thing. And that's Hans and his brilliance came up with that. And then they went with the organ. And I just think that's so cool how that kind of happened.
And it's too, it's like, it's such like an underutilized instrument, like, and one you normally wouldn't think to use in like a major motion picture. And so that's another thing I think I love about Hans Zimmer is he's not afraid to like kind of like push the bounds of what's allowed. Yeah. And I think there's a quote from Christopher Nolan that said, I think, well, at least at the time when this came out, I don't know if it's changed, but Christopher Nolan said something along the lines of that he believes that this is like his best work so far.
Really?
Yeah, or something like that. It was like something like up. It was like up there at least.
Cool. Yeah, because he has the video that Ryan always references that he's still searching for his. What is he? How does he word it?
Yeah, he still doesn't believe he's done his best masterpiece yet, his greatest life's work.
I can't wait, my guy. My guy Hans,
if he hasn't
already.
I don't know. I think this is up there.
It's got to be up there. And like I said, the other things we talked about, we touched on it a little bit, but like it's the Miller's Planet scene again. That every click that's mapped out. Someone mapped it out. I was looking up. I don't maybe fully understand it, but that it's like every 1.25 seconds is every click, and that equates to a day on Earth.
A day on Earth,
which is just cool. Like I mean, like who
does that? No one does that. Math.
It's like oh, make it intense. He's like okay, but it's like they add the time fact, and it's like that's so cool. Like,
well, I think about it too. It almost like it sounds like a metronome.
Yeah, it's just
like the classic like perception of time, like the clicking of a clock. Oh my gosh,
everything, the whole perception.
I think that's so cool.
Like I said, it just pulls it back into that whole atmosphere of the movie. Like when you're watching Interstellar, you feel like you're a part of the story. You can actually feel like you're in space and like that is you. And I think the music definitely contributes to that.
Just the way that Hans Zimmer, I feel like he does this very well with all of his films, but this one especially, just the atmosphere he creates. And it's so impossible to describe. It's so impossible to put into words the emotion that makes you feel. And he's so good at making you feel things that you normally don't or you wouldn't expect to. Even if it's just like, I don't know.
Even something as simple as just like floating in space and just putting soft violence.
Yeah.
It's always got just
something super simple, but like actually capturing what that would be like to be in that moment.
And I just, once again, I love how he uses like classic instruments. And it just does, because he has like the little piano, like I can't even do it, but you know what I'm saying, like the really fast little like piano flutters, and then like the impossible organ piece. Like I just love it. It's just like so different, and I think that really adds to like the uniqueness of the film and what makes the movie great. Because I'm 100% believer in that music and the score adds so much to a movie. And like if you have a good score, it elevates your film like tenfold.
So much. No, it really does. And like I said, the guy that got to the organ, his name is Roger Sayer, and they were just saying like how he had written these parts, but like once they found out how good of an organist he was, like Hans and Nolan were kind of like they were trying to like push the limits. They're like, what else can we do? Like like because
line can we add in?
because they were interviewing Roger, and he's like, I don't think that, he's like, once they kind of started seeing the capabilities of like the organ, they were like, oh, like we can do some, and it's seeing like, because it's like the theme, you know, the do, like it's a very simple theme, but it's like he just adds like layers on like just these amazing organ pieces, this moving parts, and you're like, what the heck is even going on?
Well, isn't there like
the organ itself is such an interesting instrument because you're usually playing 3 separate lines of music at the same time because you play with both hands and your feet.
And the feet, that's true.
I would say, I don't know, is this like a myth? I've heard this, I don't know if it's true, but didn't they say like he originally made it and it was supposed to be like impossible to play, and then he was able to play it? Like, I don't know if that's true or not, but I've heard that before.
I think it's like something on the lines of that. Like, I don't know if it was like necessarily impossible, but like
extremely difficult. Yeah.
But I think they were thinking it was going to be more difficult, and like the guy was kind of a beast, so they're like, all right, well, go for it.
He memorized it in a day. He's done.
He's like, I'm done. I'm chilling.
Yes, sir.
It's
listening to like the main theme live, incredible, so good.
Did you listen to it live? You're just
meaning meaning like even the live version, like that they can actually play that music live. It's not something that's made up or used in like editorials and stuff. They actually can play that theme live.
Well, and it's like the theme is so good at balancing, like it sounds spacey, like it sounds like space, like it's got this kind of mystical wonder to it, but it's got like the emotional, like you feel, you know what I mean? That's like the emotional, like I think pull of the movie, where it's like you feel like when Matthew McConaughey, like his great acting, like it's just like it's a combination of those both, and I think that's what works so well, that it's like it's got the kind of the space feel of like ominous or like kind of, you know, dread or, you know, time and all that, but it's also got like the punch, the emotional punch of like a father trying to return home to his daughter, you know, like it keeps that. It's like, how do you, exactly, Thomas said, you really can't explain it. It's just like it just happens. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Too, I feel like it accurately like illustrates like the basic human emotion, right? Of like wanting to be with your family, like wanting to return. And I like, if somebody told me that and said, and they said like, homie, bro, make a score that hits on this point, like wanting to return home to your family, I would have no idea
where even start.
Yeah. Like I can't even play the piano, so I don't even know what I would do.
Get the drums out, Thomas. It's so good. And then like I said, there's just so many. I love that, like I said, a lot of those pieces are all set to like the 60 beats per minute, just like that. So they just have the, like they said, that metronome, and it's fantastic. So it's one of my favorite soundtracks. And I love it.
Simply beautiful.
Absolutely brilliant.
Brilliant, mate.
Wow. Is there anything else? We can
probably keep going for a lot longer. I don't know. Should we try and wrap up? Anything random, extra?
There's one thing I like.
Okay.
Matt Damon.
Oh yeah, quick Damon.
Freaking cracks me up in the sense of Matt Damon. No one knew Matt Damon was in the movie until it came out. I think that is hilarious. He wasn't billed on anything. He wasn't on the poster. He was just in it randomly.
Not even
no one knew.
Not even like through half the movie, like even like almost like 2/3 of the movie, just nothing.
I absolutely love the fact that they kept that hidden. I can't even. I don't know why I love that so much, but I think that's so because he's like a big name actor too. Like he's not some no name. Like everyone, their dog has heard of Matt Damon. So I love
Matt Damon.
That I think that's so funny to me. I've always. I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that until I was like looking up trivia, but I love that so much.
Well, it's cool because it's like they really do such a good job. Like you unzip it and you're like, okay, you're ready to see him, and then you're kind of like, that's Matt Damon? You're like, what? Like
that brings up another point too. Is his reaction to seeing people? I think that's really great acting right there. It's just the raw emotion that he's like bawling his eyes out just at the sight of people that he never thought he would ever see again.
Yeah,
like I feel like that's pretty accurate.
No, yeah, watching it through this last time, his character is someone I could appreciate a lot more, like kind of like empathizing with him and kind of realizing his situation of like this dude got to his planet. He realized real quick, like, well, this isn't the one. And he's like, you kind of know you're like almost screwed from that point.
Yeah.
Like, and he says he resists the temptation to like, he's like, I resisted so many times to not push that button. Like,
yeah. Like I think it's so easy to like jump to conclusions and say like, oh, like he's a bad guy, but like like if you put yourself in his shoes, like it's totally understandable. And like even after, like he was fully committed to the plan, to the mission, you know.
No, he was
Like, but he was just committed to Plan B and not Plan A. Whereas our boy Cooper wanted to see his family, so he was committed to Plan A.
Yeah.
Yikes.
And
Poor
Matt. That's another thing you go into.
And another thing.
Layers.
Another
and
dimension.
layers
And another
and layers
dimension.
and layers.
And another dimension. And that'll lead to another clue. And that'll lead to another clue. They find Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage was one of the. Oh, that would be hilarious if he was one of the people on one of the planets. Can you imagine?
I would have died. I found something.
I found something. There's an interdimensional black hole.
So dumb. We love Natty T. Oh,
well,
God.
some of us love it more than others, obviously.
No, I'm so sorry, fans. I'm so sorry. If I could go, watch me go back through time though. Hashtag time.
No,
dilation.
don't. You can't.
Hashtag
change
time
it.
travel. Hashtag physical dimension. Hashtag fifth dimension. Come see me. It might change and it might not be me. I'm just saying it could be time.
No one would know. No one would know.
How would they know? They would.
They're gonna know.
How are they gonna know?
Wow. Well, yeah. That was a lot, but I think I'm satisfied. Yeah. Oh, one last thing.
There we go. It's just gonna keep going.
Sorry, a spin-off TV show, Cooper and Tars: The Adventures of Cooper and Tars. How weird would that be? It's just him and the robot. Come on, Tars.
TV show.
Not to bring another Star Wars reference in, but it kind of reminds me like R2-D2.
R2-D2 and Skywalker. Yeah.
Yeah. I knew that guy.
I thought the exact same thing.
Oh man.
That's funny.
Oh man.
All right. Should we give it our ratings?
Yeah.
Time. Yeah.
So do we want to do the same thing where we say it all at the same time, or are we done with that? Was that a terrible idea?
Did Stuart like it or did he not like it? If he didn't like it, then I'm out.
Stuart didn't really say anything about it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't like it.
Individual.
Let's see. Well, let's see what Marin thinks. We'll start pulling Marin.
Okay, hold on. Let me pull up a timer. Da da ba 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 ba.
It's so good.
Love it. Everything about it. Ryan, your time hasn't started yet.
All right. Okay. Who would like to go first? Ryan, do you want to go first or last because it was your choice?
Yeah. What do you think?
I'll go first because it might influence your scores.
That's right. Oh yeah. Whoever's movie it is, how about they go first? Because they already kind of had an idea.
Yeah.
At least I would think.
Okay. So
I'm gonna say it.
Okay, say it.
8.9. Remember, this is on a scale of 10. We don't think anything can possibly be a 10.
It's on a scale of 9, my guy.
No, it's on a scale of 10, but we don't think anything will ever be a 9. So it's on a scale of 9.
Nothing will ever be a 10, therefore it's pretty much a scale.
Therefore, it's on a scale of 9.
And so I put it at an 8.9.
It makes sense if you don't think about it. Basically, he's 1/10 away from a perfect score.
As close as you can get without getting to it.
Okay. Wait, did you say waterfall? Easy.
Another time, Holmes. Another time.
Coming in an episode near you.
All right. Okay. Are you ready, Ryan?
My place 2. Shout out. Release
5, 4, 3.
Okay. Overall, incredible movie. I said it before. I'm going to say it again. Great acting, great cast, great storyline, great relationship between family, everything, every emotion you feel. It goes into every aspect of creativity. It goes into philosophy. It expands what you think as what science is and what science could be. It predicted the future while talking about future. It was time. It was everything you could ask for in a movie.
What was love? It was iron. It was firm. It was time. It was intellectual.
Dimensions.
We're so dumb.
I knew that was gonna come up.
Okay, Holmes, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'm ready.
He says 3.
It's a solid 3. Okay. I'm giving it, my rating is an 8.1.
Okay, hold on. Let me just pull the timer. All right.
8.1.
So to get some of the bad stuff out of the way, it falls short for me. It's a little long, but it's in the upper tier of the 8s for sure. It's great. It's a little long. It seems a little jumbled at the end a little bit. I think that was just there's a little bit left to be desired there, but where it completely exceeds though. Oh my gosh, the soundtrack! I really can't explain to you how much I love this thing. That is carries that thing. The space, the visuals, perfectly, beautifully done. I love the story. I love the acting between McConaughey, and it's a well-told story, well-made movie. Well done, Nolan.
Perfect. All right.
I'm really curious where Thomas.
High tier 8 as an 8.1.
Well, sorry, like my like
high tier overall. Yeah, no.
The high tier is like my 8.
That's the highest movie so far. That's the highest movie so far, right? Of Holmes.
Yeah, that's my highest movie
by
so
far.
far.
The next closest is Jurassic Park.
At 7.1.
Wait,
so.
at 7.1. Yeah, and 1917 was.
I just think anything in the eights is like golden for me. I love all like what I mean. So it definitely reaches that, but it's gonna be the lower, which is okay. That's still good.
Okay,
all right, 2 hands.
Do you have a timer?
Right guy, you got him?
No, he's filling stuff out.
Okay, I got him.
You got him.
No, I get it.
So before
it is 30 seconds, right? I always forget.
Yes, it is 30 seconds. So okay, before I give my score, I want to explain to you a little bit my reasoning.
Wait, what?
I mean, not my reasoning. Not my reasoning. Like I was looking at the scores, right? And I gave National Treasure an 8.1. So I had to think to myself, do I like this better than National Treasure? That, my friends, was a very hard decision that I had to think about. But I have officially come to the conclusion, so keep in mind National Treasure was 8.1, that this I give an 8.11. So it is 1/10 better to me
the decimals.
than National Treasure.
Thomas is the only one who has more than one decimal point.
Well, the decimal, I just feel like fully adds to the range of motion you can have in your ranking.
That's funny, Thomas.
Okay, I'm ready. Tell me when.
Okay. 3, 2.
I love this movie so much. It's great acting, great score. I think we're all in agreement with that. I don't think it's my favorite Christopher Nolan movie, and I don't think it's like my favorite movie of all time. It's in my top 10 for sure, but it's not my favorite. And so that's why I think I had to consider like where I was going to place it. Obviously, like, it's awesome to rewatch. I still don't understand it every single time. I love the science behind it. I love stuff like that. It just blows my mind every time.
Well said, my guy. I guess to make a quick point, I think that's also, it's hard. Sometimes it's harder to judge this movie because I often judge it against other Nolan films rather than just like in the moviescape as its own. Because it's really hard not to, you know what I mean? So I think for that, I don't know if that necessarily makes it worse or better in my opinion, but I think it has an effect. And sometimes I'm like, well, because it's not my favorite Nolan film either. But
yeah, you're right. It's so hard, but I do say like that. I think shows the versatility of Christopher Nolan. Well, I don't know. It doesn't. Now that I think of it, because like he definitely, like, each movie's different, but it's also like they're all like kind of thriller or actiony.
He has some similar vibes, but like he's definitely.
But they're all different. They're all different like intensities of like they're all like diving deep into a certain thing. Like this is like dimensional. Inception is like dreams. 10 is like time, literally. You know, so it's just interesting to see.
No, it's true. I think we can all appreciate that this is a great movie. We all enjoy watching it, and like I said, I think it's definitely marked. It's an achievement for sure. I think of what it's done.
If you're ever bored one day, audience, look up.
You got 3 hours to spare.
Watch the movie. Look up theory of relativity. Look up string theory. Look up the dimensions.
Get in deep. You got to get in deep. No halfway stuff.
And the more you look it up, the less you'll understand. So that's my recommendation for y'all.
That's Interstellar, though, folks.
I love how Thomas went 8.11 when you did 8.1. I don't think he realized he did that, but he did it.
Well, I already had it written down that I was gonna do 8.11.
Oh yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. No, Holmes.
Because I actually think about it before.
Just always slightly better, because he did the same thing with Jurassic Park. He went 7.2 and you did 7.1.
That's
just
so funny.
Just the thought.
Just to one up me. That's always Thomas. So for our next, so this was Ryan's, one of his favorite, probably if he says right now his favorite movie. Next week we're gonna do one of Thomas's, and then the week after we're gonna do one of mine.
Yep.
So stay tuned. We're excited about these. We're passionate about them. We think they're great. Yeah. We love them.
I was definitely the target. I was definitely the target audience of this movie. This movie was made for someone who with a science math background in every way, shape, and form. Very analytical, very broad and everything, but still.
Yeah,
in
I
the
would be
details.
I would be interested to know like the reaction of it, like among like scientists or like NASA people.
Yeah.
I would be interested to see like the like it. Like I remember watching like I think I saw like a Cinema Wins with Neil deGrasse Tyson, and I think he was like, yeah, it's pretty good. But like obviously there's you can never get it 100% right because it's like you
That's
gotta
true.
take some creative
I
liberties.
think for a movie they probably appreciated that at least it tried and it was really accurate on a lot of things.
It wasn't like crazy out there. Like it tried to be realistic.
Obviously, when you get into a black hole, it's everything's up for game.
You gotta imagine what you can imagine.
Yeah.
No one knows, so we appreciate the science.
We can wrap it up.
All right, yeah, that's Interstellar.
Highly recommended. That's
Highly
our top
recommended.
movie on average overall by at least almost a point and a half, really.
The average is 8.37. The next highest is 1917.
The next highest, is 1917, which is 1.3 points higher on average.
We're getting to the high tiers though. These are movies we like, so
this is interesting to see your little math over here too, like all. Okay, sorry, I'll look at that.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of analytics, I have analytics on even this.
This is Holmes.
Oh, Stuart, I'm so sorry.
Stuart, we're sorry. We're trying to work on something ending. We can get.
We're trying to workshop it. Yeah.
Yeah. We watch them, so you don't have to.
This is release date where we watch them, so you don't have to.